For our next problem, we have an equation to solve. We have 5x to the 3/2 power minus 10 is equal to 0. Now remember, we're trying to solve for x, so we want to isolate x. So first, let's add 10 to both sides of this equation, and we'll have 5x to the 3/2 power is equal to 10. Next, let's divide both sides of this equation by 5. When we do that, we'll have x to the 3/2 power is equal to 2. Now, we're trying to isolate x, so what we need to do is take both sides of this equation and raise it to the 2/3 power. The reason we're raising both sides to the 2/3 power is because of the rules for exponents. Remember, when you have a base raised to a power, raised to another power, you multiply those exponents. 3/2 times 2/3 just gives us 1. So therefore, on the left-hand side, we'll just have x to the first power, or x, is equal to 2 to the 2/3 power. Now, when we raised both sides to the 2/3 power, we were really taking the cube root and then squaring. That's what rational exponents do. So it's important that we check this answer. We're going to check x equals 2 to the 2/3 power by substituting this value in for x in the original equation. When we check, we're going to have 5x to the 3/2 power minus 10 is equal to 0. Now let's substitute 2 to the 2/3 in here for x. We'll have 5 times 2 to the 2/3, that's x, raised to the 3/2 minus 10 equals 0. I should put a question mark here because I'm checking. So we have 5 out in front of the parentheses, 2 raised to the 2/3 raised to the 3/2. Notice when I multiply the exponents, I just get 2/3 times 3/2, which is equal to 1. So I have 5 times 2 minus 10. Is that equal to 0? Sure. 10 minus 10 is equal to 0. So that was true. Therefore, I can say that my solution set is the set containing 2 to the 2/3 power. Just as a side note, 2 raised to the 2/3 power, which is our solution, is approximately equal to 1.59 on a calculator.